The journey to Mars. Events during the summer of 1965 changed our view of the face of Mars forever. On the 14th of July, Mariner 4 became the first spacecraft to explore Mars successfully. There were unsuccessful attempts before it. 5 Soviet craft had failed, most even to leave Earth orbit, and a stuck shroud on Mariner 3 prevented its flyby of Mars. The 261-kilogram windmill-shaped Mariner 4 spacecraft began its journey from Cape Canaveral, Florida to Mars on the 28th of November, 1964 at 9:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was neatly packaged inside a newly designed metal shroud to reduce aerodynamic resistance during the launch and to protect it from heat damage as it passed through Earth's atmosphere. Shortly after blastoff on an Atlas Agena rocket booster, the shroud dropped away and the solar panels unfolded and went to work. All systems were go for a 187.6 million kilometer journey through space. Mariner 4 was off to a good start. Mariner 4 carried a host of scientific instruments to study Mars and the space environment between Earth and Mars. For example, a magnetometer was mounted on the spacecraft to measure the magnetic field characteristics between Earth and Mars and to detect the existence of a Martian magnetic field. The experiments that had the greatest impact were the camera. It exposed Mars as it had never been seen before, and the radio occultation experiment. It provided the first direct measurement of the Martian atmosphere when Mariner 4 swung around the planet and its radio signal passed through the atmosphere. Flying to Mars was not a straight shot. On the 4th of December, shortly after launch, Mariner 4's trajectory was so far off course that if it had not been corrected, it would have missed Mars by 256,000 kilometers. As terrestrial mariners had done throughout history, Mariner 4 used a guide star, Canopus, as a point of reference to navigate and orient the craft in space. Using this star as a reference, Mission Control rolled and turned the spacecraft in search of the guiding light from Canopus. After nearly a full day of maneuvers, nitrogen jets were fired, putting Mariner on a course that would take it within 9,846 kilometers of the surface of Mars. On the 14th of July, 1965, after 228 days in flight, Mariner 4 reached the orbit of Mars. This rendezvous with Mars had been no easy feat. One Mariner scientist compared the accuracy that brought the spacecraft this close to Mars with rolling a strike in a bowling alley reaching from Los Angeles to San Francisco. The actual route to Mars had been calculated half a century before by Walter Hohmann, a German mathematician. The most economical way to send a probe to Mars, Hohmann figured, was to follow a long, curved orbit that would intersect with a point in the orbit of Mars at the exact time that Mars itself arrived at that point. For Mariner 4, that meant a 228-day trip covering a distance of 455 million kilometers, all that way to arrive at Mars at a straight line distance of 187.6 million kilometers from Earth. About 78 minutes after Mariner 4's closest approach to the planet, its trajectory took it behind Mars, where it remained in darkness for 45 minutes. During that time, all radio transmission signals to Earth stopped. As soon as it reached the sunlit side, we got our first close-up look at the surface of another planet, and Mars instantaneously became more than a twinkle in the evening sky. Mariner 4 continued on its trajectory past Mars and into a huge orbit around the Sun. And that is the journey to Mars. Have a great day.